So today's webinar we'll be looking at how to sustain continuous improvement. Our presenter today is Larry Mazza. Larry is the Director of CTPM Victoria. Larry has over 15 years experience in manufacturing, working both in Australia and the UK, covering various industries including automotive, packaging, defence and textiles. Joining CTPM in July 2001, Larry has assisted numerous companies and sites throughout Australia, including B&D Doors, Cooper's Brewery, Goulburn Murray Water, Midland Brick, One Still, Simplot Australia, Sugar Australia and many more. So let's get started. We hope you enjoyed today's webinar, and I will now pass you on to Larry.
Thank you, Sam. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to How to Sustain Continuous Improvement webinar. In today's webinar, I'm going to be sharing with you CTPM's key learnings and observations on this topic. There will be an opportunity to participate and ask through some quick polls and questions, as Samantha said during the presentation. Also, the webinar is being recorded, so it'll be available on our website. Just look for the Find Us on YouTube tab. So today I'd like to have three key topics that I'm going to talk about. Core ideology and leadership, resources and structure, and what's in it for me. By no means are these three topics alone the only three things you need to consider to how best to sustain continuous improvement. However, due to time constraints, I've chosen to focus on these topics of which CTPM has developed a lot of key learnings over the past 18 years through a lot of practice and research. First thing I would like to consider is the organisation approach to continuous improvement. This has a huge impact on sustainability of improvements and the ability for an organisation to quickly adapt to the ever-changing markets and to be innovative. The analogy I'm going to use to help explain the different approaches is weight loss. Most people, when they are not happy with their weight and want to lose it quickly, start looking for what's the best diet or program out there. And they also start regularising it regularly. Their basic approach is to eat less and exercise more for a period of time and try and lose as much weight as fast as possible. This approach is event or time based, which usually lasts for a relatively short time, maybe a few months. Then during this period they can lose a lot of weight, but if the person goes back to their old habits of eating too much or the wrong type of food or little or no exercise, eventually they put the weight back on and a vicious cycle starts. So, at CTPM we often see organisations take a similar approach to continuous improvement. Companies start a lean or CI program. By eating less, they start a war on waste, with blitz events wherever they see fat or waste, often moving from one conquest to another while achieving impressive results. At the same time, they start exercising by using a range of great improvement tools. So if they want to look good, they'll start a 5S program. If they want to be quicker and be more responsive, they'll start Value Stream or some other tool that reduces lead time and losses, and so forth. And to ensure they get good results, these are often driven by lean improvement specialists or even a team of them. We can call them fitness coaches or trainers. They go out, fire up the troops, get the results and move on to the next unhealthy area. Once again, all the time achieving great results. But like most people who go on diets, the companies start a CI program fool themselves into thinking that the change effort required is time-bounded exercise. They just need to eat less and exercise more for a period of time. And often like the weight loss approach, the improvements are short-lived and not sustained. Unfortunately, a lot of organisations don't understand that continuous improvement is not just event-based or cannot be sustained by just events or glitches alone. You need to live for continuous improvement. It has to be a part of your organisation's DNA or core ideology. Continuous improvement needs to be an ongoing and key part of daily activity, not something extra that is just done when we think we need it. So let's explore core ideology a bit more. In their book Built to Last by Jim Collins and Jerry Perez, they studied a number of leading companies to identify some successful common habits amongst them all. They termed them visionary companies. One of the common traits of these visionary companies was to have core ideology that was made up of two parts, core values and purpose. They concluded that the critical issue is not whether the company has the right or most likeable core ideology, but more importantly whether the core ideology gives guidance and inspiration to the people inside the company. So let's explore this further by taking a quick look at how core values and purposes are key to sustaining continuous improvement. So what are core values? They're the organisation's essential and enduring beliefs or doctrine. They're a small set of general guiding principles, not to be confused with specific operating practices or to be compromised for financial gain or short-term expediency. Once again, the study showed in the book that most companies identified that they had a few core values, mainly between 3 and 6. They were fundamental, deeply held, and rarely and seldom compromised. So let's look at some examples. Here we have two company ones, 3M and Toyota. Although they have some similarities, which I've highlighted in different colours, once again, it's not the question of the core values being right ones or the right ones. It's more a case of which help guide and inspire the people within. The study showed that even not one of the core values was showed consistently across all the visionary companies studied. However, I've noticed some commonalities or themes between the majority of the companies that particularly relate to continuous improvement. There are 4 key themes I came across. Customer and society focused, valuing their people and employees, continuous and self-improvement, and honesty and integrity. Core values alone are not enough. The company needs purpose. So what is purpose? It's the organisational fundamental reason for existing beyond just making money. The primary role of the purpose is once again to inspire, guide and inspire as per the core values. The visionary companies continually pursue but never reach its purpose. It's like chasing the Earth's horizon or pursuing the guiding star. You never really reach it. Toyota's term this as true north. Everyone in their organisation is consistently improving and working towards perfection or the ideal state of everything, even knowing that this ideal state can never be achieved. This is the consistency of purpose that drives the continuous improvement in this company. What we have observed that a lot of companies' approach to continuous improvement lacks this consistency of purpose. Continuous improvement activity is often commenced in an area, process or system, and after a short period of time, for whatever reason, it just stops. Slowly but surely the initial gains made during the period are eroded due to either new problems arising or to the changes to the process or product. This failure to have ongoing continuous improvement often creates confusion and animosity within the workforce. Then subsequent attempts to restart the activity in the area is often met with a negativity, or we hear people saying, here we go again. So what are some other things that cause a lack of consistency of purpose? It's hard to sustain continuous improvement when we start chopping and changing to the latest trend, CI tool or methodology. Or we have a change in leadership. Stop doing that, now do this. Another common mistake made by companies is only involving a trained team of CI specialists, for example, Six Sigma black and green belts, and have little or no involvement from the people who are actually doing the value adding. I tend to term this as the few stars versus developing a capable mass. When developing the Toyota production system, Chiyochi Ono soon realised that for the system to work, he needed a capable mass of people who could think, solve problems, and not just a select few stars. Another lack of consistency of purpose is CI compliance versus continuous improvement to improve performance. Continuous improvement is all about developing people at all levels through problem solving, rather than systematically applying continuous improvement or lean tools. Don't get me wrong, we're all for having standardised approach to continuous improvement across the business. However, in this attempt to obtain compliance across sites, the fundamental purpose of improving performance can often be lost. Corporate needs to understand that every site must identify, solve its own challenges based on the variables of its processes, place, people and other unique factors. So rather than dictating or prescribing an exact path or matrix for the continuous improvement journey and then vigorously auditing them, the emphasis would be better placed on ensuring that people are provided with the right training and knowledge that suits their problems. Standards can be used and need to be enforced for things like using standard methodology, for example for problem solving or root cause analysis, having standard CI templates for things like A3s, meeting documents and improvement sheets, or standards for measurement for overall equipment definitions and cost-benefit analysis and so on. So who is responsible for all of this? The leaders, of course, which brings us to the next point. It's all about leadership. Leaders start by first understanding and living out the organisation's core values and purpose, which we've just discussed. Then they need to commit to self-development, coach and develop others, support daily continuous improvement, and create a vision and align goals to the core purpose. I've seen this best demonstrated by the graphic I'm about to show you, called the diamond model for CI leadership development. And this is shown in Jeffrey Leica and Carrie Converse's book, The Toyota Way to Leadership. We start with the true north values and core values that we spoke about, that I showed you earlier: spirit of the challenge, Kaizen, going seed, teamwork and respect. The first step is the self-commitment to development. So they need to learn to live these values through repeated learning cycles. Then coach and develop others, identify and see the challenges and make sure that people are developing, once again through learning cycles. Then supporting daily improvement, and create true north vision and align goals vertically and horizontally. The first two are labelled as individual leadership. 3 and 4 are termed as institutional leadership. The whole thing will only work if there's a discipline to follow it. So in summary, leadership requirements for sustaining continuous improvement is a passion for excellence, an obsession with satisfying customers, striving for perfection or the true north, driven by core values. You need highly self-critical leaders who are humble and leave their egos at home, leaders who commit to self-development, who coach and develop others, a desire to build something that will endure forever, and complete faith in investing in people is the only way to succeed. It's all about developing people. Okay, it's probably time for our first poll, so I'll hand you back to Samantha. So our first poll there, looks like people are filling it in. Let's see what sort of results we're getting. So does your organisation have consistency of purpose and truly live for CI, or does it have a CI diet? So most people have said we have at the moment 27% saying they live for CA, 53% saying that's more of a diet, 20% unsure. Okay. Okay, I'd like to start off this second session with a common statement that you'll hear when people start continuous improvement. Continuous improvement is all about working smarter, not harder. Is this a CI fallacy? I believe that this statement's intended meaning is that continuous improvement will make physical work easier by implementing improvements, solving problems and reducing frustration in the workplace. The reality is that continuous improvement sustain, you need to work both smarter and harder. I'll use, a well-known example to explain this. Most of you would have heard the well-documented story about how the electric light bulb was invented by Thomas Edison. It's been well documented that Edison conducted hundreds of experiments with numerous types of different filaments to find just the right material that glows well and be long-lasting. In 1879, Edison discovered that the carbon filament in the oxygen-free bulb glowed but did not burn out for 40 hours. Edison eventually produced a bulb that could glow for over 1,500 hours. The point I'm trying to make here is that making breakthroughs and solving problems is not a single burst of brilliance. In my experience, it's more like 10% inspiration and 90% perspiration. Continuous improvement activities often require intensive focus, observation. You need to go and see to understand. You need to conduct trials and experiments to prove and unprove a hypothesis. You need perseverance, collecting and analysing data or information, getting your hands dirty, gaining hands-on knowledge. This is what I mean by hard work and can be termed as learning cycles or plan, do, check, act or a scientific method. To be able to do this effectively, you then need time and resources. Hence, to sustain continuous improvement, leaders must provide appropriate time and resources. So, we advocate that people need to spend about 10% of their normal time on ongoing formal improvement. This could be included in ongoing education and training, attending meetings, conducting trials and experiments, and collecting data. Obviously, then, the resources are needed in the form of a coach, technical support, maintenance support, and obviously money. One of the biggest reasons why operators stop participating in continuous improvement is that improvement projects are often not followed through or implemented due to a lack of resources. Sometimes this is maintenance or money. The second point I'd like to cover here is about having a right structure. If continuous improvement is all about developing people, then you need the right structure to support it. Our learning has been that a leader, whether it be a team leader, supervisor or manager, can only successfully coach or develop a maximum of 7 people at any one time, as shown in this slide. So the ideal team size is for around 4 to 8 people. So as you can see, at each level, one person, for example, this supervisor here is responsible for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 team leaders in this case, and the team leaders are responsible for up to 7 people. And this goes right through the organisation. At first sight, this structure may seem to be very hierarchical, but if you refer to the numbers on the right, depending on the number of people on the site, there could be only 2 or 3 levels. Let me share with you a real-life example. Some years ago, I was supporting a client that had an operation which was 24/7 and 4 rotating a 12-hour shift system. The supervisor had some 50 people reporting directly to them, and then there were 4 supervisors reporting to a production manager and in turn to the site manager. So if we go back to our slide, basically it was similar to that structure except we didn't have the team leaders, and I've shown that by putting them in red, striking them out. When it came to commence area-based improvement activities such as work area management or operator equipment management, or some people know it as 5S, in the production lines where all the operators were involved, because of this structure, they really struggled to make any real progress because the shift supervisors simply had too many people to try and support and develop. Once they actually reintroduced the working team leader, which by the way didn't increase their headcount, they really started to make some great improvements, and on the back of that started to develop their operators and improve the team and mastery skills of their frontline people. The important thing here is that if you want to develop a capable workforce that is able to solve problems, be adaptable and innovate, you need to have the right structure to support it. And we believe that the 4 to 8 model works very well. The second point I'd like to make about structure is the alignment of support staff. And this is by what we know as Rule 2 from the paper by Stephen Spear and Kent Bowen in Decoding the DNA of the Toyota Production System. And as you can see, it's stated on the screen there, every customer-supplier connection must be direct and there must be no unambiguous yes or no way to send requests or receive responses. Support staff such as maintenance, quality engineers and CI coaching need to be aligned. A production area-based team, that is made up of a team leader and team members, should have a direct and dedicated support staff that they know they can go to that can help them problem solve, implement solutions or get coaching and teaching from. Once again, we observe that a lot of sites don't have, for example, production and maintenance rosters aligned, that maintenance people and the production people are on different shift patterns, so it's very hard for them to form relationships and then support and develop each other. Also that once again, if this is not alignment's not there, it makes it very difficult to support production teams in the long term. Okay, it's time for our second poll. So let's see how we go with this one. The question is, do you think your organisation is providing enough time and resources to sustain continuous improvement? Okay. So how are we going with that poll?
We're almost there.
How are we going with?
And
yeah, sorry, I don't seem to have it on my screen, Sam.
That's okay. We're almost there, and we will close it in very shortly so we can see the results. Here we go. And the results are that 88% of people say no and 12% say yes.
No worries. Very good. Okay. So there's a bit of work to be done there. All right. Let's move on to our next section. So I thought I'd start off the last session with some typical comments you might be faced with when you're embarking on a continuous improvement journey. So I'm too busy for continuous improvement. I just want to come into work and do my job. Continuous improvement is something extra, not a part of my normal work. Well, that's your problem. You're the CI manager. Does this all sound familiar? These are some of the most typical responses we're faced with when, at all levels, when we're asked people to participate or support continuous improvement activities. To be fair, we also get some very enthusiastic and positive responses as well. But how do you deal with these negative reactions to continuous improvement and maintain enthusiasm along a never-ending journey? Let's look from an operator's perspective as well. When management are shouting from the rooftops, we need to be more productive, we need to increase output, got to reduce waste, we need to deliver on time. Therefore, we're going to start this great continuous improvement program. We need your participation to help us fix all the problems in the workplace. Our little friend here might start getting some thoughts like this. Will I get more money? Will I have to work harder? Will I or my mate lose their job? In our great diverse Australasian culture, people have the tendency to ask, well, what's in it for me? When they are asked to participate in something new or do something that's not perceived or was to be perceived as something extra from their normal duties. So we need to address this, what's in it for me. We need to understand that there are two types of approaches to continuous improvement, deductive and inductive. It's not the case of which approach is right or wrong, it's more about understanding how best to apply each approach. To help explain with this, I'll use a medical analogy. Okay, deductive approach to good health. You may feel unwell, so you go to your doctor. Doctor plays detective, in other words being deductive. He asks a lot of questions. You may get some test results done. He concludes you've got high blood pressure. Best solution, take a tablet every day. Why? He tells me if not, I'll have a stroke. This is typically a push solution. This approach works really well for doctors and in the workplace. This deductive approach is how we tend to solve a lot of problems in the workplace, especially for safety issues, and it is very effective. But what if you don't like taking the medication or you can't handle the side effects of that medication? Is there an alternative approach? There's the inductive approach. You need to learn about the high blood pressure is caused by poor diet, too much smoking, too much alcohol, being overweight, or lack of exercise. You realise you just can't do one thing, you need to address all causes. Why? Well, what's in it for me? Seeing benefit of not being on blood pressure tablets or having the side effects is one. And you want to stay healthy and live life and possibly enjoy the grandkids. So that's the what's in it for me. In this case, the what's in it is very emotive. If I don't like taking the pills or I want to do something about it, I need to take. There are 5 things I can do in this case to help improve that. As in this example, the inductive approach, there is often more than one solution that needs to be implemented. In summary, inductive approaches, there are many solutions and it's a pull culture change. Inductive approach is an ongoing review of the workplace by everyone so as they identify and rectify ultimately anything that's not right in the area. And there are often many solutions. To pull culture is the what's in it for me, and we do it through emotive questioning. And it promotes and encourages everyone to be responsible and accountable for their workplace improvements. So there's a technique involved in this emotive questioning. Rather than telling people what to do, you ask emotive questions. For example, like rather than telling people they need to clean up the work area, you ask them, do you ever waste time when you're about to do something, like can't find the broom to clean up? Normally they would say yes to that. So rather than telling them they need to organise, you're actually getting them more involved in it. Second point I would like to cover in this section is that continuous improvement, you need a balanced approach of activities that provides both tangible and intangible benefits. So tangible benefits are short-term focus and help her achieve the business plan or have a high return on investment. Some companies focus all their CI activity on projects that will only give a good return on investment and have a very short-term focus, therefore not investing in activities that produce less tangible results. So intangibles more as a long-term focus that continue to develop people and processes. Intangible results are very important because they often provide people with the knowledge, experience and skills that they can use to solve problems and be more innovative in the future. Intangible results help build capability and are an important part of people and process development. The balance of the continuous improvement activities may change according to the business conditions that the site might find itself in. For example, if the business is behind budget or losing money or struggling, it might need to focus more on short-term activity that improve performance and return on investment. So once things are back on track, then we need to make sure that we need to put things back in balance and then do the long-term activity as well. Okay, the last final point I want to cover in this section is the impact of TPM or continuous improvements on what we call the 4S. They are customer satisfaction, employee satisfaction, shareholder satisfaction, and society satisfaction. If one of these stakeholders does not see continual benefit, eventually the continuous improvement will suffer. For example, if employees stop seeing the benefit and the company and the shareholders are reaping all the rewards, operators will simply stop participating. There's no what's in it for me. On the other hand, if the corporate shareholders aren't seeing the gains, they are likely to stop resourcing the CI activity or even pull the pin. The point is here we need a positive impact on all four of those areas. Okay, it's time for our last poll. Question 3, does your organisation have the right balance of activity, of continuous improvement activity? See how we go with that, Sam.
Okay. So just select the answer that best suits you and press submit. Here we have 75% of people have answered, so we'll just wait a little bit longer. Great, we might leave it there because we know we're running a little bit over time. So the results are in. We have 7% have good balance of tangible and intangible. We have 50% on emphasis mainly on tangible. We have 36% on focus on tangible and high ROI only. And then we have 7% on focus on intangible only. So,
Right, so a real spread there. Thanks, Sam. Okay, we'll just summarise now, I guess, the key learnings. So we talked about core ideology and leadership. Everyone must live for continuous improvement through their organisation core values and purpose. We need a consistency of purpose by having ongoing continuous improvement activity. Leaders need to be committed to self-development and coaching and development of others. Then we spoke about resources and structure. You need to work both smarter and harder for continuous improvement to be sustained, i.e. 10% inspiration, 90% perspiration. You need to spend 10% of your normal time to ensure activities are appropriate and ensure CI activities are appropriately resourced. A team structure of 4 to 8 members best supports the development of people. And lastly, we said, what's in it for me? The inductive approach, many solutions, pull culture by emotive questioning, a good balance of CI activity that achieves tangible and intangible results, and continuous improvement activity that impacts positively on the 4 areas of customers, employees, shareholders and society. Well, this brings us to question time, and before we take any questions, just like to take the opportunity to thank you all attending the webinar. I hope that you've been able to take some learnings away that you'll be able to apply on your site in the near future. If you'd like to discuss this point, discuss any points raised in the webinar in more detail, please don't hesitate to contact CTPM. Soon there will be a CTPM e-tech article available on this topic, once I write it. Last but not least, this is the final webinar in 2014. I wish everyone a merry and safe festive season. I hope you join us in the new year for more webinars. Over to you for questions.
Thank you, Larry. That's great. So if you do have any questions, just raise your hand or just type it in the control panel box provided. Larry, I just have one question. It's who is responsible for the CI activity? Is it the CI manager or the departmental manager where the activity is occurring?
That's a great question, and I often see this on sites. I guess the answer to that is that if the activity is in a departmental area, it should be that department head. As we said, it's the manager's responsibility to develop and coach their own people, not a CI manager. And that's a common mistake companies make, where really, if you think of a CI manager, they should be really a coach or a teacher to help their resource. They don't really have responsibility for that for the people that work in the area. So the right answer is that it should be the departmental manager.
Great. And that's where a lot of people are going wrong, is it, or mistaking?
Well, not a lot. It's where I see when I talk to people that, CI specialists and managers in companies, they often have that frustration that they'd like to do things but they don't have the control and that they're not getting the support they need from the managers.
Oh, fair enough. Okay, so it doesn't look like we have any questions. If you do think of something, please write it into us or give us a call. We're free any time to have a chat. So as Larry said, a big thank you for attending, and just a reminder that the dates for next year will be released very shortly, so keep a lookout for your emails or on our website. And we'll finish off, and we just hope you have a great rest of the week and a very Merry Christmas if we don't see or talk to you before then, and we hope to see you at our next webinar, which will be in the new year. So thank you.
All right. Thank you.